Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to analyze the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities there may be today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Alright, we're starting on the daily. EU's on the top and DXY is on the bottom. What can we see on the daily? Well, finally yesterday we had a bearish engulfing candle finally filling this daily imbalance completely now. So we had some proper bearish momentum yesterday and finished with a nice bearish day. Inversely on DXY we did the same. We also filled this imbalance here. So now we're just looking to see if that's going to continue. We also have a small imbalance below here, which on lower time frames will be probably more in a discount. So we'll have a look at that. Otherwise on the daily, we have our previous daily highs and lows still intact for buy side and sell side liquidity for today. So let's go down to the 4 hour and see what that shows us. So onto the 4 hour, we have our bullish leg here. We've now got our confirmed lower low. So we pulled back, lower high, filling the imbalance. We've now made a lower low, right? A lot of this was very corrective price action, but nonetheless, we've made that lower low and we have our discount POI price draw down here with this imbalance and this large 4 hour order block as well. So that would be a good place to target. We may have some supports around these areas, but for the 4 hour, this looks like a good discount target and POI to draw price, and also a good area of support so that if we are to continue bullish from. So let me not get too sucked into that side of things, but yes, we have that discount POI draw and we definitely look bearish because we've got this internal structure. It's internal to this external leg here. So internally we're making lower highs and lower lows and we've got that momentum. Now just to analyze further on this recent price action, this would be an order block and imbalance of course. We have spiked up and filled that overnight. We'll see if price continues from this point here as resistance to go further down into this discount. We're just barely around this discount slash middle equilibrium at the moment. So I think structure now is painting a clear bearish bias. DXY, the inverse, is also doing the same. We've got our higher high here above this high and we have moved into the premium somewhat. We have a little order block here, but above that is the main imbalance and order block, just like above on EU. So we may find some sort of resistance around here again, but ultimately the price draw is above in that premium. So we'll go down to the 1 hour and see if that's doing the same. Now on the 1 hour, the bearish structure continues, very clear. We discussed it yesterday, the possibilities, right? We had this lower high, now lower low. Obviously internally we had that complex pullback where we started making the lower highs and lower lows internally to this one. But nonetheless, now we have that clear bearish leg, pulled back, another bearish leg. You can see we have this immediate imbalance above price, right? So we have an immediate imbalance above price with an order block behind it. You can see where this candle also, this last black candle here, has swept liquidity to the left and then broken down, right? Creating a new lower low below here. Now this is just pointing out what is the next sort of external sell side liquidity target that could be in place. Of course, the previous daily low would be the next immediate target for this leg because it's the low of the leg, but then it would be this low here. So these are just points where we may see price pull back from or see some resistance due to the liquidity being mitigated. On DXY, we have the same legs. We have the same imbalance POI here on the 1 hour that could give support. If we pull back to it, we do look like we're pulling up towards this area somewhat, and the same on DXY. So we may see that support here to continue on with our current trend. So I think that looks good as a POI. There's basically an inducement below it as well, which is great for the internal buy side liquidity to go in our favor to target the possible weak low, because if we reject this area, that's a weak low, and then the next sell side liquidity low here to continue going down towards our 4 hour POI as well, which is a drawn price. So bearish bias clearly from the structure and the POI is above. So let's go down to the M15 and see what opportunities may be available today. Now, just a quick warning, it is PMI news, red folder news throughout the beginning of this London session. As we can see here, there's an announcement soon, and there's also more later on in the New York session. These are big red folder news, PMI, so probably impact price, and this one is coming within the next 4 minutes. So as we're talking, what I'm saying could completely change, or there's no opportunity to get involved in the trades. But we'll continue analyzing and move on from there. So we have this nice correctiveness here, creating sort of the trend line below. We have a 15-minute POI at that 1 hour imbalance with the top of Asia that could serve as inducement, right? We have swept the lows of Asia, so it makes sense to target the buy side liquidity above here too, because I believe Frankfurt took those lows. Ultimately, our bias is bearish, so this sell side liquidity sweep here may sponsor the pullback to the higher time frame POI. Now we have this M15 order block with imbalance that broke the low. However, of course, we have imbalances above it, which is a bit of a danger. So just because this is a nice obvious opportunity with a 1 hour imbalance, I will draw it out. It's above Asia, so we'll have our inducement as buy side liquidity sponsorship. News will probably spike into this, or maybe the extreme imbalance and POI above. But nonetheless, let's mark it out. Inducement here. We have our break of structure already from yesterday. Now, I don't usually trade in this way. There are further trades we can wait from after this, of course. So break of structure from yesterday, corrective pullback. Right, inducement here, 50-minute order block here. With our order now, stop loss can be just above the order block here, and we can target the lows or beyond, right, to the next low. So I do think this looks good as a valid trade. However, news is going to announce soon, so it's probably not something I'll execute. But this is just an alternative to what I usually show you, because price looks clear and structure looks clear. This is definitely inducement. We're possibly coming up to take this high here and go into this order block and 1 hour imbalance, right, which is a draw on price. And we have our break of structure down here with that pullback. So yeah, I think that looks good as a first opportunity. Something to reference for the future. I do believe news will probably squander this opportunity. Now I'll remove this just for the moment. Of course, this is a 1 hour imbalance, okay? So there is no requirement to execute straight from here, because we have that disadvantage of having imbalances above which may need to fill, okay? So that is definitely one of the negative confluences. We have DXY on our side though, with the same imbalance and order block, but it also has the imbalance below. So price, you may get wicked out on your order. However, we can wait for this, which is more of a continuation of price. We can see price come into this 1 hour imbalance, 50-minute order block, and then break down. Hopefully it creates some structure beforehand. So we'll have our break of structure around here, pull back to our POI on the lower time frame, and then we can continue with our bias. So that will look like this. We'd have our inducement possibly around here in price. We'd have our buy side liquidity taken from this area here, of course, from those Asia highs. And then we would have our order block. See, news has clearly just announced, or coming into, nope, just announced, and price just went straight for that sell side liquidity. So it's going to pull up. I'll finish this because it's still our strategy and analysis. So we could have traded like that. This can still happen. Sell side liquidity has been mitigated. Price could still pull up to this imbalance here. So we'll keep an eye on that, right? If price does pull up correctively again, somewhat to the 1 hour imbalance, we'll wait for that POI to hold and break down on a lower time frame. As price has done what it's done now, we can see we've taken the previous daily low. DXY has not taken a previous daily high. Obviously this is European news, So it hasn't quite yet had the same effect here, but we might go and take that previous daily high. So I'll ignore DXY possibly for the moment. But let's see this. Now imagine we close this out as a nice bearish leg, close below the previous daily low. There's the possibility, but I'm not telling you that I would trade this. We'll have to see how price forms. But this again is another break of structure. We've swept internal liquidity above these highs, and now we could pull back up to this order block which may form here to continue our trend to go lower. Okay, so this is definitely something that could happen after this price action's finished. Obviously the news is still having its effect, so we'll see what happens, but you'd want a nice bearish close there. Preferably you may want to wait for this 1 hour imbalance PMI to be met, if that's going to happen, of course, because the risks here are we've taken plenty of sell side liquidity, previous daily low, and if we keep this SMC divergence here, that's indicating strength, at least for the short term, for EU, which may mean it's going to pull more back into this premium here. Okay, so let's draw that out. Break a structure around here, possibly inducement around here as we pull back to this POI here to continue a possible continuation of this bearish price action to go short. So something like this, stop loss just above the high, targeting wherever you want to target. So I think that's enough for today. These are the opportunities that I see. Again, be careful for further announcements. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.